But her question basically is, we don't want folk to think that you are suggesting that to have critical dialogue, critique of the president when he's wrong, is going to aid and abet those who want to assassinate him.
No, he heard my question.
Yeah, he got it.
But it was more than that. You heard all of it, right?
We got it.
Very loud and very clear, and I will just answer like this.
Sure.
The Bible says the fearful and the unbelieving will have their part in a lake that burns with fire. Ooh. Any of us in this audience that are afraid, the fear that you have has already limited your ability to participate in a black agenda. So fear is what the enemy ruled us with.
Come on, minister.
And fear is what he put into our mothers so that we could drink the milk of fear from our mother's breast. So I'm not trying to inspire anyone to be afraid. I'm inspiring you to be critical in that principle of love. But as I said that, I'm warning our enemies and his enemy. Don't play with what we did here today and make mockery of sincere exhortation of our president.
We got it.
That's all I'm saying. And I'm also warning to keep your hands off of him. And to the government of the United States, do your best to protect him. You slipped up and let people walk in to a dinner that they had no business being in. Your security is not what it should be. So tighten it up.
And the church said, all right. You got to give the people what they want. And we're going to the people now.
Hello, my name is Raymond Morris Jr., the Speaker of the Senate of Chicago State University Student Government. And my question for you, the panelists, is can you talk more about how and why the census is important to advancing the black agenda?
Reverend Jackson, right quick.
Number one, because of home foreclosures, many of our people are now staying double with their relatives and they're not being counted. Many others are in prison and they have been counted where they are in prison, not where they come from. And that determines in Tams, Illinois, for example, that determines both the resources and representation. But the last point of that census count is that census count will determine representation and will determine resources. And so I hope you're registered to vote. Are you? There is no reason why on this campus every student should not use that power. We got too many rocks laying around we can't throw because we've not registered. I urge you, use the power you have and then build upon it.
Next question or comment.
How does the brainwashing affect those of us in this room who believe that our schools can be better when we don't pay the tax base for the schools in our community because we move out?
Tom Burrell, right quick.
Well, it goes back to my one-note samba here, and that is the media. We have got to understand the power of images, particularly on our young people, and we have got to work on how we feel about ourselves against what is being done from the outside. We will have the same numbers if we don't start doing something different to change them.
A book by Tom Burrell is Brainwash. Next question or comment.
How can we here, get the revamping and overhauling of the criminal justice system in Illinois in general and the United States of America in particular, how can we get the overhauling and revamping of this criminal injustice system on the table?
Reverend, I got it. It's on the table. Dr. West is going to respond right quick, Dr. West. Right quick, Dr. West.
We have got to generate a focus on the prison industrial complex, recognizing 62% of them are there because of soft drugs, which means they need rehabilitation, they need education, which means every church ought to have a robust prison ministry. Every institution in the black community ought to have a robust focus on the precious brothers and sisters in prison, and then be able to generate motion for the kind of...
Back to the people. Next question or comment. Bring it on.
Yes, I am currently watching the Latino community mobilize around the agenda right now of immigration reform. Tomorrow, from the city of Chicago, 200 buses will be leaving to go to D.C. to march. What they are doing, we should be doing when it comes to jobs, health care, education, mortgage foreclosure. All of these things are plaguing our community. These issues are eliminating our ability to compete and to survive. Here's my question. How did we, as the African Americans, allow the students, meaning the Latino community, to become the teachers, and we now are the students?
What I want to say to the young lady is that for so long, our people went around saying that that's old. We don't need to do that no more. We need to be quiet. Don't march. Don't do these things. And other people now are doing what we once did. So what you have to do as a student and a student before you, I agree with Dr. Malveaux, but I think the students needed to get active on their campus. It was the young people in college that led the civil rights movement. They didn't wait for Dr. Malveaux.
That's right.
They didn't work for Tavis. They saw injustice and they mobilized and organized it. I hope that the young people across this country will mobilize. They did it in Gina, but something happened. This government shut them down so that the young folks wouldn't be powerful.
Dorothy.
So we want them to mobilize.
I thank you. Next question or comment, please.
My name is Avery Bolden, and I go to a CPS school, and I was wondering what would happen to me if the budget cuts kept me from going to school. I don't know what education I would get and where would I go. And if I didn't get a job, I wouldn't be able to eat, and if I wouldn't be able to eat, I would die, and that'd be one less person in the world.
Reverend Jackson, right quick.
We owe it to you to fight for equal, high quality public education for all of you, not just education for a few. There are some things we're marching about, voting about, going to jail about. It is you. We must make a commitment to you, and we must honor that commitment.
Thank you, Reverend Jackson. Next question or comment?
Yes, my question for the panel today is, what can we do collectively to address the issue of black-on-black violence and keep our young black men on track?
Brother Dyson? Brother Dyson has a brother, in fact, who is incarcerated.
Right. The first thing is not to be violent yourself. Number one, because there are multiple ways to resolve disputes. We got to stop the culture of machismo that says, I'm a man, you step on my shoes, I'm gonna kill you. That's number one. Value your brothers and sisters more than you value your shoes or your car or your clothes. Number two, do what we're talking about today. Love blackness so much that all the hate is squeezed outside of you, and that when you see another black person, you love them even if you disagree with them. Finally, as Minister Farrakhan said, we are here because we love black America. We don't love one man more than we love America, but because we are black America, we love that one man. We want the love to be reciprocal. The same with young black people. The moment we begin to discover who we are, study as much as we can about the greatness that we've come through, we will not be able to kill the future because we appreciate the past.